let me just say, Bomber is pissed. He's pissed because it seems that Damien Grant has actually been nefarious in the active cancellation of the working group.
Point of clarification.
Yeah.
Which Damien Grant are we talking about? Because there's many Damien Grants on the planet. What was his key indicator?
I think he's the thrice convicted fraudster.
Oh, thrice
Is it
convicted
thrice?
fraudster. Once, twice, 3 times the lady.
Yeah.
That'd be the Zionist supporting Damien Grant, the guy that sounds like some sort of hell beast crossed with Kermit the Frog. Damien Grant.
So this is the tweet I put out when I saw the post from Marty. We know they're hypocrites. We just needed a topic that they couldn't fathom the opposing view being tolerated, let alone protected. Israel is that topic. Free speech for me and not for thee. Right? Because what it's all about, and we'll go through the article now, Marty points out several times, the free speech purist basically chucked his toys over Marty's positions on, not bombing women and children in
human
Gaza.
rights.
Yeah, couldn't find their place. All right, so let's just go through this. There's a bit of reading, and if some of you have seen it, Sarah, that comes up in this, so we'll share with you. Comrades, it is with deep sadness that I announce the working group has been cancelled by the political right. Comrades, it is with deep sadness that I announce that. I just went there, it's the same as the heading. New Zealand's Gold Award-winning political podcast. You don't have to hold that over our heads constantly, Marty. Come on, bit of grace.
Trying to support here, and he's just
we're trying to be nice to you. You have to push that in our faces again. Has been cancelled by the political right. Now, it's a really good article. You should go and read it. Look, it talks about all the people that help them out, lots of people in the production of it, all the guests that help them out. So go through and have a look at all that. We're not going to focus on that right now. We're going to get to the actual story. Marty says, we made some incredible media, and it is with a deeply heavy heart that I announce that it has been cancelled by the political right. Damien Grant owns Gravity Management, and Gravity Management sponsors the working group. There's an email here, which I won't read out word for word, but if you go and have a look at the article, the post of the article is in the show notes, by the way. It basically shows Damien being full of beans and ready to go for this year. The first line says it's time to play the music, it's time to light the lights, it's time to meet the Muppets on the working group tonight. So he was, and I mean, as you said, we have a Kermit already cast, so that's not a problem. So we're getting there. Goes on to say, however, over the summer, Damien and I began fighting again privately over content that I was publishing on the daily blog. It was critical of the contacts between the New Zealand Institute and stuff. Another article, it's interesting actually, Marty's put up these, I guess what they were private emails talking about, from Damien Grant, I'm sorry, Martyn, there is just too much on your blog, and this email below has left me feeling kicking off another season with the same format is going to require more from me than I have the emotional capacity to provide. I thought we were the snowflakes. Aren't we supposed to be the snowflakes? That's us, isn't it? Maybe not.
Yeah.
There was a lightness to the show. Shit, he's never heard himself, obviously, that I think that has been eroding, and the blow up with Oliver and other fights has left me unwilling to continue to fund something I no longer have a passion for. We shall go on in the article. Marty writes, there has been a building tension behind the scenes of the working group for some time. Damien seems to have believed that because he sponsored the working group, that he had some type of editorial content over the daily blog and was constantly wanting me to change my tone on criticism towards Israel and my criticism of the New Zealand Initiative, or connecting them to the Atlas Network.
Oh, okay.
I repeatedly explained to Damien that he was not the editor of the daily blog as editor of the Daily Blog, I will always criticize the right when I think they are wrong. I will always highlight the links with the hard right, free market think tanks and the political and media infrastructure of New Zealand, and I will stop criticizing Israel when they stop murdering Palestinians. I have conveyed this passionately back to Damien many times. The tension came to a head over summer as I published blogs linking Stuff's political editor to the New Zealand Initiative and Nicola Willis. So there's another article there, and there's a link there if you want to go check it out for yourself. Now, I actually know that there are some people who are in our sphere who don't like everything that Bomber has to say and think some of his positions on some things are a bit weird. And many times have we had the question, how does he work with Damien Grant? So we'll keep reading. I find it astonishing that a free speech champion like Damien is pulling the sponsorship to an award-winning political podcast because his right-wing mates don't like my free speech. The hypocrisy is astounding because initially Damien, slip of the tongue, agreed to allow me to find a new sponsor and continue on. We agreed that what we had built with the working group was bigger than him feeling pressured to pull funding because of his right-wing mates had their feelings hurt by things I was saying. I went out, found a new sponsor, was about to announce the new start date when Damien contacted me, reneged on the agreement and decided to ensure I could not continue with the show by pulling his support for me continuing with it. Now, it doesn't say explicitly there, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to ask Bomber this one day, but it sounds like perhaps Damien has ownership, or perhaps they are 50-50 or something. And so, because I kind of go, you know, when like in America, a host will leave MSNBC and they'll go to CNN and they just change the name of the show slightly, but it's basically the same show. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, well, that's what you do. But obviously there's a bit more intertwined to this that they need to work out. I mean, Bomber's got the Daily Blog. I'm sure we'll see him again doing something online, whether it's with Rover or being more independent. I don't know. But yeah, apparently Damien pulling his support for him continuing it implies an element of control that Damien has over the working group per se. The working group has a unique media experiment, and the body of work we produced and the range of guests was something I will always be proud of. Having the working group cancelled because a free speech champion has been bullied into this because his right-wing mates don't like my free speech, and this is the bit that many of you won't agree with, I'm sure, I believe stains the mana of Damien's work as a columnist in a way he doesn't appreciate nor comprehend. I know some people are going to go mana, but what I hear, how I would interpret that is, if you had any element of respect towards him for his ability to write, maybe that's gone now as well. But anyway, you know, they are, or certainly were, mates. That's probably where that's coming from. When you see him pimping the Free Speech Union, remind him of that hypocrisy, please. Now, this is a bit of the where to from here. I own the YouTube page, The Working Group. I own the YouTube page The Working Group has been loaded up onto, and the Facebook page. And know there are some ACT party who would prefer the only treaty referendum debate disappeared altogether. So can I reach out to the National Library to take a copy so that is on file somewhere in case Damien starts legal action to seize the YouTube page? I'm going to go and have a long drink now watching the libertarian you spent 3 years working with burn your work down in a Viking funeral that's only he's been invited to. Is a tad draining for this socialist. I'll be back once I've sobered up. So there is a few unanswered questions, like what is the ownership model? There's obviously something to do with Damien and the ownership model because he can't move forward. I mean, I would ask Marty as well, if Marty is watching, I would say, well, so from next week onwards, it's the working group with Bomber, or it's Bomber's working group, or it's another name.
Big hairy working group.
Are you
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Are we gonna start like a CSI thing? How there's like CSI Miami and CSI Los Angeles and CSI? Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah. Big hairy working group.
But what I'm saying is, this is the question I would have for Bomber one day. If you've organised a sponsor, well, fuck the name. The name is not the product. You are the product. You know, the content is the product. And I'm sure there's many people out there who have already offered their help, that if you want to find another space, you can find another space. But, you know, I guess what I'm reading in that as well, Chewie, is, well, I know he's pissed because he told me I'm so angry, and I tweet back. And I guess it's going to take, and he's probably hurt because it's friends and stuff, you know, mates at one stage. So maybe he just needs, you know, you give yourself a bit of space to go work things out. Sorry, my watch is going mad on me. I'm keep looking at it because in case it's Craig. You need space sometimes. You give something a day or two, a week or whatever, then you look back on it and you go, okay. And there's that horrible thing that when you're sitting in the middle of it, doesn't feel good. But sometimes 6 months later you go, yeah, that was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah, look, working group was, like, it was important. Like, as much as I'd like to watch it just to dunk on Damien more often than not.
Yeah, that's a shame. We don't have that anymore, Chewie. Every week on Wednesday night, we'd have some bullshit from Damien Grant to throw.
40% of our content is gone. Look, it was an interesting product. It stood out there, because it wasn't under the wings of a major network or that sort of thing. It was a weird format because you had an avowed leftist like Bomber trying to moderate it, and having the guy who's ponying up the money to enable it as being the alternative voice, and then a real spread of guests. Now, we heavily criticized some of those guests, but that's the good thing about the show, right?
Yeah.
Is that you could get someone on there, and it could be a seasoned political operator. It could be, what was his face from Voyager? CB.
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 Yeah. Have you seen some of the articles going around recently about him and the Voyager Awards? Holy moly.
Exactly why I mentioned it. You know, Annie O'Brien and that sort of thing. And you go, oh, okay, this person that has been operating in the halls of power and been involved with people's political campaigns is a raving idiot. That is helpful to me. And the working group would not exist without Bomber.
Yeah, of course.
Like, Damien Grant does not have the pulling power to attract an audience, whereas Bomber did. And I know that many of the people here in our chat also inhabited the chat of the working group. You know, we did call it the BHN pre-show. You know, because the net, like, if you're talking about politics in this country, the net casts in the same pond, it catches the same people.
Yeah.
But on that show, you got probably a bigger proportion of what we refer to as our country croutons. And it, you know, is there a product out there that is like that now? No. We're too wholeheartedly left.
Yeah, but can I just say something with
News
that?
Talk
We are
ZB is more full-throatedly right.
You know, but we are too wholeheartedly left. But just to say this, in case anyone's joining us for the first time and they don't know this, we ask. I spent last week asking, you know, when they made their family boost announcement, when New Zealand First made their, you know, defining sex, we asked for them. We ask for the politicians on the right and stuff, and they don't come on. They choose not to. Now, I'm not like other pathetic piles of melted pancake batter and go, well, we just don't come on. So it's not that I care. You don't have any, I never feel entitled to someone's time, no matter who it is. They don't have to come on, but just so people know, we ask. We send out emails regularly and ask, and they don't come on. So just so everyone's clear, it's not that we're only going to sit in this space and we don't want to interact with it. It's like we do ask, they don't come.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I think going into an election, not having the working group operating once a week is again, it's a hit. It might affect a smaller group, but it is going to affect a group of some of the most politically activated and switched on viewers and commentators on our political scene.
Yeah,
it's gone now. And again, we don't have the crossover again. So we become even more in our own camps, in our own echo chambers. So, yeah, I think it's a problem. I think it's a shame. I'm quite happy to hang the whole thing on Damien Grant because as Bomber spells out quite fucking clearly, Damien could, within rights, tell Bomber what to say to some degree when it came to the working group as a product. He absolutely has no solid ground to stand on to go to Bomber's product, the Daily Blog, and say, you can't talk about Israel. You can't talk about the New Zealand initiative. That's so out the fucking gate. Like, did you think that would work? And then to pack up your toys and go when you're told the truth is just it shows his character.
And the other thing, just to talk back when you were talking about, they have these other voices on. It's a little bit like I get the feeling, I get the sense, and I think we are moving more in that direction once someone decides to come on. Although once they come on, they might not want to come back on. I don't know. We'll see. Is sometimes people don't like voices being like platformed, but if you're going to do a honest news conversation, then you have newsmakers on your show, no matter where they're from. The kind of flip side to that is we like Jack Tame, right? But sometimes he gives ass to Chippy. If you're going to be an honest actor, it's got to go both ways. And I feel like that from us and from this show, that sometimes if we're going to get someone on that some of you may not like, well, it's got to go both ways. We can't just always have on the echo chamber the people we like only. If we're going to be a news commentary show, which is what we are, we do have to engage with those voices once they decide they want to engage with us. So...
And look, I've seen people sort of criticize us of being a little bit too soft on Chippy, and I think all I can say with that is, with something like this, you want someone to come back on and there's a little bit of relationship building going on and that sort of thing. But I like to think that we don't pull our punches too. I don't think
we're soft on Chippy. I mean, we gave him a lot of ass over the capital gains tax. We talked to him about shitting on Green Party people. And I had Barb on last night.
I think I brought that up twice, right?
Yeah. I had Barb on last night, Barbara Edmonds, and I said to her, look, if this is you guys, when you win, we're asking you the same questions because we will. And there are many people, we get this all the time. Oh, what did you say to such and such? Well, if you actually look at the history of our such and such, we normally did ask those questions of the other side as well. Right, but they normally say that because there's an expectation media now that you only talk to your echo chamber and you give the other side a pass. I actually would like to live in a world and practice whatever this is called that we do, where we're harder on our side because I want our side to be better.
Yeah.
I want our side to win, and I'm not going to sit there and coddle your testicles, because some of you don't have any. And just go, you're great, you're fantastic, because that won't be
through no fault of your own, by the way.
No fault of your own. Because that's not going to help. I want to win, and if my side needs to be given a fucking rocket to win, then I think it's actually not just the appropriate thing to do, but it's actually the helpful thing to do. I mean, tax work less, tax wealth more. We'll keep pushing Chippy on that, and we'll see what happens around election time. And maybe he'll palm it off to the Greens and it'll be Chloe's message. Fine. But we'll keep pushing it. We'll keep pushing it.